We are going to be continuing to talk about the elimination method. And on your assignment sheet, you want to refer to your 7.4 homework is this. And these are the correct dates. So on your assignment sheet, I'd post these dates for whichever class you're in. So this is going to be tonight's homework. So today we're going to continue with the elimination method. I call this flavor Rocky Road because there's just no simple way to do it. So this again, you'll notice here's our example that we're going to use the elimination method. And what do you notice about these coefficients? We have this, remember, it has to be in standard form. And standard form is ax plus by equals c. In these equations, the x's are lined up, the y's are lined up, your constants are lined up. But what do you notice? Okay. If you look at our coefficients, the coefficients have no pattern. So what do? We can't add them down. We can't multiply by -1. But there is method 3, Rocky Road. So first, I want to kind of go over at a very general perspective what the goal of the elimination method is. The goal is to look at one variable and multiply. Okay. That's a P. Multiply each coefficient so the coefficients are opposites. So if we had opposite coefficients, such as 5x and -5x, and we add those, they would become 0, and we would have eliminated x. So the goal is to look at one variable and multiply each coefficient so that the coefficients are opposites, because if the coefficients for one variable are opposites, then we can add down to eliminate that variable, and we're happy because we can use the elimination method. So we have this system, and I am going to go through the solution that is the long way. Okay? And works every single time. And when you use the long way, you are going to look at the x variable. Right? So we're going to focus on looking at the x variable. And we want to multiply the 3 and the 8 so that we get opposite coefficients. So if we multiply equation 1 by 8 and equation 2 by 3, and notice I'm just 8 times 3, and 3 times 8 is going to give me 24. 4. So I have 24x and 24x. And if I add down, are they eliminated? No, they're not opposites. So I have to make one of these numbers a negative. Okay, because if I multiply this by negative 3, negative 3 times 8x gives me negative 24x. And if I add down 0, x is eliminated. So I have to multiply this by negative 3. So the goal is to look at your x variable, multiply both of the coefficients so that they're the same, but they're opposites. Now what I have to do is to finish this up. I have to multiply the 8 times everything here. So this is going to give me 8 times negative 3, then negative 24y. 8 times 21 is 168. Then I have to multiply the bottom equation by negative 3. Negative 3 times 6 is negative 18y. Negative times a negative is a positive. 3 times 14 is 42. I add the equations. The x is eliminated. I add the coefficients for y. Get negative 42y equals, add my constants, 210. And now I'm going to solve for y. So I divide both by negative 42. Okay, so I'm going to get y equals, and you can use your handy dandy calculator, 210 divided by negative 42 is going to give you negative 5. So now that we know what y is, we have to find x. So we have to find x. Well, how do we do that? Well, we know that y is equal to negative 5. And we're going to substitute it into either of the original equations and solve for x. So look at these two equations, and I think I'm going to pick the bottom one. I think that might be a little bit easier, but it doesn't matter. So I have 8x plus 6, y is negative 5, okay, equals negative 14. Now solve for x. You can do that. You do it, I'll do it, and we'll make sure that we're both correct. All right, so you got x is equal to 2. So, as an ordered pair, the solution would be 2, comma, negative 5. Now, don't forget to check. So, we're going to substitute 2 for x and we're going to substitute negative 5 for y into the original equations where they have them written right here for you. Right? You do the substitution and see if we made any mistakes. Okay, cha-ching, cha-ching. They both check. So, when the coefficients don't match, then the simplest thing to do is to solve for x, which is your first variable. At the end of this lesson, I'll show you a shortcut. You might already see it. But let's make sure that we understand how to do this long method, because this will work every single time. Okay, so we're going to go to the next problem. Now, the first problem we have right here with this system is it's not in standard form. The equations must be in standard form. And I'm sure you could do this mentally. To get the first equation in standard form, we simply mentally add 2x to both sides. So we're going to get 2x plus 3y equals 17. And then the second equation is in standard form. Okay. So now we've rearranged. The first step here that we had to do is arrange the equations so that like terms are in columns. We want it to be in standard form, ax plus by equals c. So now we're bringing this down. And we want to solve. And remember, I said that the easiest way to deal with this is to look at the x variables. Okay. So, in this case, because my coefficients are 2 and 3, if I multiply this top one by 3, I get, and actually the 3 should go over there. So you can write it here or there. I multiply this, and I'm looking at the x, and I get 6x. I multiply this equation by 2, I get 6x. And if I add down, I get 12x. So one of these I have to multiply by a negative number. So I have negative 2. That gives me negative 6. So that means that if I add 6x minus 6x, I'm going to get 0, and x is eliminated. So, when I'm solving this, we multiply equation 1 by 3, and equation 2 by negative 2 so that the coefficients of x in each equation is the opposite of 2 and 3. Okay, so that's going to be 6. So now we have to finish this up. We're going to multiply this equation by 3. So we have 6x plus 9y equals 3 times 17 is 51. Now we're going to multiply this equation. Got negative 6x minus 10y equals negative 54. Okay. We add the equations and we get negative y equals negative 3. We solve for y. Remember that the leading coefficient here is negative 1. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 1. We get y equals 3. So now we want to find x. So we're going to substitute y equals 3 into either of the original equations up here. Okay. Either of the original equations and solve for x. Well, I'm going to take equation 2. So here I have 3, and that's 3x plus 5, y is 3, equals 27. So now we're going to solve for x. So we're going to get 3x plus 15 equals 27. Subtract 15. We get 3x equals 12. Divide by 3. And x equals 4. Okay. So 3x plus 15 equals 27. Subtract 15 from both sides. 3x equals 12. Divide by 3, x is 4. So as an ordered pair, our solution is 3. It is x is 4 and y is 3. Again, you don't have to write it as an ordered pair unless you're told to do so. I'm going to go back to the original equations and we're going to check this. So the first check, 3, y is 3, equals negative 2, x is 4, plus 17. 9 equals 17 minus 8 is 9. It checks. We're going to check the second equation. 3, x is 4, plus 5. Y is 3 equals 27. 12 and 15 is 27 equals 27. Cha-ching, it checks. So there is that problem. If we're running out of time, then you can either watch this YouTube video on your own, but you should at least go to my website and get the answers. Right. So I'm going to let you do this problem on your own, play a little music, and then we'll come back. You can come back and see how you're doing.
Cause I'm being followed by a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow, leaping and hopping on a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow. And if I ever lose my hands, lose my plow, lose my land, oh, if I ever lose my hands, oh, I won't have to work no more. And if I ever lose my eyes, if my colors all run dry, it's if I ever lose my eyes, oh, I won't have to cry no more. Yes, I'm being followed by a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow, leaping and hopping on a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow. And if I ever lose my legs, I won't moan and I won't beg. Oh, if I ever lose my legs, oh, I won't have to walk no more. And if I ever lose my mouth, all my teeth, north and south, yes, if I ever lose my mouth, oh, I won't have to talk. Did it take long to find me? I asked the faithful light. Oh, did it take long to find me? And are you gonna stay the night? I'm being followed by a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow, leaping and hopping on a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow. In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? Ain't it just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind? Yes, I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. Karen, she's a silver sun. You best walk her away and watch it shining. Watch her watch the morning come. A silver tear appearing now. I'm crying, ain't I? found out no one's mind, and love's the finest thing around. Whisper something soft and kind. And hey babe, the sky's on fire, I'm dying, and I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? Maybe just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind. Yes, I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. Dark and silent late last night, I think I might have heard the highway calling. Geese in flight, and dogs at bite. The signs that might be omens say I'm going, I'm on to Carolina in my mind.
All right. So here's the answer that you should have gotten. Here's the work. This is the long way. Want to show you that you could do this, what I call the short way. Rewrite this equation. Negative 9x plus 5y equals negative 8. Negative 20x plus 10y equals negative 10. Sorry about the sun. Now, I told you the easiest way is to deal with the x. And you're probably saying to yourself, oh my goodness, why am I doing all this work? Can't I look at the 5 and the 10? What is negative 2 times 5? Well, that's negative 10. And negative 10 plus 10 is going to eliminate y. So the short way is to look at both variables, because remember I told you want to look at the variables so that they have opposite coefficients. So if I multiply this times negative 2, I'm going to get negative 10y. And we can just say multiply this one by 1. And 10y. And if I add down, that's eliminated. I have eliminated y. So I would multiply the negative 2 times negative 9. I would get 18x minus the 10y equals 16. I would get, for the second equation, negative 20x plus 10y equals negative 10. I'd add down, I'd get negative 2 equals 6. Oops, negative 2x equals 6. Divide by negative 2. X equals negative 3. All right? So notice I'm getting the same answer. So for those of you that need a method that works every single time, focus on the x and multiply the coefficients so that you get opposite coefficients for x and you can add down. But there's nothing to say that you, in this example, okay, you could easily do the y. And then on the front problem, if we were to go back, and the front problem was 3 x minus 3y equals 21. 8x plus 6y equals negative 14. What could I have done to make this really easy? If I had gone and looked at the y, I could have multiplied the first equation by 2, and I would have gotten 6x minus 6y equals 42. And then the other equation I would just bring over, 8x plus 6y equals negative 14. Add them down. 6x and 8x is 14x. The y's cancel out to be 0. And I get 42 minus 14 is 28. Divide by 14, x equals 2. And notice that's what we had here. X was equal to 2. Okay. So that's why I call this method Rocky Road, right? Because it's a little challenging, but at the end of the rainbow, you'll get the same answer. So have a nice day, and good luck with these homework problems on the elimination method.